I have seen a steady decline in week of meetings. Even the conferences kind of turned to more teaching, educating more than so much preaching. And the impacting pulpit ministry behind the pulpit, we have seen a decline, a steady decline. And back then, if you have to go through it, you will see two things I see where people get saved. One-on-one evangelism still works, and speaker services, conferences like that, they have impact. But churches today seem as though that they're not so much care about all these things now. It's, I don't know, I call it laziness in ministry. I don't know if you can comment on that.
Something like that, we're very going to see the passion for ministry is not here like that, like it used to be. So the passion for ministry, I think since COVID is strong. A lot of things changed. The church has been tremendously affected by it. At least, even though that it has been affected, there were some things that came out of COVID, because now we have the ministry for real people. We can use YouTube and Facebook now, and a lot of people are into that now. So the churches are suffering when it comes to indoor churches and services. People because it's at home. I go to the church now that I meet most of the people online.
Sometimes the church have talent in there, and the talent want to do something, and then the church, oh, we are ready for that yet, we are ready for that yet, oh, we are ready for that yet. What gonna happen to the talent? When somebody recognize,
they're gonna become dormant.
Yeah, not only that, but when somebody recognize that talent, the guy with the talent, and then when you're gonna realize what you had there, when you see the next this you see the person the flourishing and they do whatever next, yeah. But now with that, I see a danger, and this is what churches are doing. They're putting the cart before the horse. They bring in the unsafe people and to play instruments and to do things. I said, I said, first of all, in order for you to do anything at Lighthouse, you got to be saved, born again. And remember, and Pastor Saunders make that an issue, because if you don't get people, if people are not saved, and you put them to do things, your chances are you'll never get them saved, because they're gonna feel like they're all right. You see where I'm coming from, and that's how it's supposed to be. And you want to do something, you got to be born again. Now, what I come to realize that those who are going into ministry now, they're going to ministry, but they don't have no vision, they don't know where they're going, they don't have a plan, they're just there and hoping something work out. Yeah, and it's like the there and the
I had a 5-year and a 10-year plan.
Yeah, it's like the there and
let me tell you, and it came.
Yeah, and that's when you look at them, it's like, okay, it's like I'm in the ministry, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, preach on Sunday morning, do Bible study, good. But then like they don't have like, okay, a vision, like to say where I want to go, what I want in the next 10 years, where I like to see the ministry, where we like to be. And to me, if you don't get, to me, when you have it, it give you a drive, it make you get up every day and get up every day, I want to accomplish it, it give you a drive. But without that, you're just marking time. So what advice you will give young pastors, young ministers in this vein?
Up to yesterday, but I don't remember what they used to say. They have a plan. They have a 5-year plan, they have a 10-year plan, what we're going to accomplish, whatever we're going to do. And I will tell you, like the probably 14 if we want to accomplish it. Every time we did that, whatever it is, it was hard to accomplish, and we didn't really become okay.
Exactly.
You know, it's just a lot.
Good evening, all, and welcome to Central Truth with Pastor Dixon. And this evening, it's a privilege to have Pastor Saunders and Sister Saunders here with me in studio, right here in studio. And this is long overdue and so fitting. These both of them, Pastor Saunders and Sister Saunders, I must say they are the first I have interview with, with my channel. So it's fitting and the first, and I thought it best that I would not interview anyone like this until I interview both Pastor Saunders and Sister Saunders because they played such an important, integral part in my life, especially in my spiritual journey. I am here by the grace of God, but both of them God used to witness to me, and because of them, I came to know Jesus Christ, and I was discipled under both of them. So, I've been doing these videos, doing my little podcast here and there. And last year we tried it, but it didn't. It didn't work. So we wait a year after, and now they're here. And the next person I have lined up is Brother Charles. But I said, Brother Charles, after I did do Pastor Saunders and Sister Saunders, then we will go at it because there's so much that we need to talk about, so much. And one of the reason why I'm so happy to have them here today is as we talk about ministry, and there's so much about ministry, church planting, church leadership, discipleship, um, the state, what you think about the state of the condition of the church today, um, how times have changed, and there's a lot going on. So we are so happy to have them here. And Pastor Saunders, Sister Saunders, nice to have you all. And Pastor Saunders, would you like to say something at this time?
Well, I count it a privilege, Pastor Dixon, to be here to just talk and to discuss what the Lord has done in our lives, what He's still doing, and what He's going to continue to do. So I just feel blessed to be here and to share my thoughts with those who follow you.
Yes. Okay, with that said, we are going into some um, discussions. And first of all, Pastor Saunders, I must say, ladies first, Sister Saunders, just give us a little background, how you get saved, how long you've been serving the Lord in ministry, how you get called to ministry, and so on.
Good night to everyone. It's a joy to be here. And I just want to give God thanks for His many blessings upon my life. I've been, I got saved when I was in the Bahamas. And God has been good. I can remember vividly when I trusted Christ as my Savior. And since I've trusted Him, I have been living for Him and doing all that I can to win others to the Lord Jesus Christ. God has been good, and I just want to continue to serve Him for the rest of my life and to see others come to know Him as their Lord and personal Savior. I give thanks for He has been so good to us. And, just to count the many blessings that He has bestowed upon us, it would be numerous. But, we just give Him thanks for all that He has done for us.
Okay, Pastor Saunders, what about you?
Well, my salvation, I was at the age of 12, over 12, turning 13, when I trusted Christ as my Savior. And I said that, well, I think I made a decision several times before that, even when I was younger. But at the age of 12, I took it very seriously. And so it could well be that I got saved before, but I didn't really understand it at the point. But at 12, I made a decision, a personal decision to live for the Lord. I even made him a promise at that time that I will serve him till I die. And the Lord has never allowed me to forget that. So I'm here today. And I give God praise for his faithfulness in my life and ministry and everything.
Okay, that is so great. And I guess both of you met up at Blue Water Bible College. Yes, Blue Water Bible College, where I went also. And, that's a whole long history.
Yeah.
But you surrendered to the Lord, you went to Blue Water Bible College, and both of you met
48 years ago.
just 48 years ago.
Could you imagine?
I stopped counting how when I went to Blue Water.
48 years ago.
Yes. How when I finished Blue Water, I think I finished 2000. Yes, I think 2000. So how many years that now been? 10, 20, 24. What that? 24 years. I'm old, man. I'm old. I sent a text there to Pastor Webster when they had his appreciation. And I said 20 years. It's 20 years he has in there. I said, no text. I said, man, you make me feel old 20 years already. Yes. And yes. But I could remember, tell us about you, Pastor Saunders, your call and determination to come back home to St. Kitts.
Well, it all began in 1986. I'm talking about letting the the Lord. I've been placed upon my bed. To enter the ministry. I was already preaching, getting involved in ministry. And I thought, as I mentioned before, that when I really settled myself and made up my mind to serve the Lord, as I said, I think it could well be that like I said before, but at the age of 12 and 30, when I became even more conscious of it, and and so I don't believe that date, the date when I got saved, but it could well be before. But I'm talking about when I became so conscious about it, and I made him come to the same. And the Lord has never allowed me to forget that, and so preaching, something happened that the eventual Pastor William and I started ministry together in Kayon. And I thought I was doing everything that God wanted me to do. But there was a week of special meetings that was held at our church, Redeemed Baptist Church. And they had Dr. Dennis Bell to speak. And in speaking that week, every sermon he preached, like he was talking to me. You know what I mean? Like preaching to me, and I ignored the invitation because I thought I was doing the thing that I wanted to do. I was already preaching. I was the second person without the Pastor Williams. And in many instances, I learned, I was leading, and a lot of doing a lot of things. Even to come to the land, I was the one to negotiate them out and get the land. And so, so I thought I was with everything until God impressed upon my heart. And it took a whole week of preaching and a whole week of invitation, and I never responded to any. But after the week of service closed, I went home the Friday night and I just couldn't sleep. I just couldn't rest. I was troubled about it. It took me hours before I started taking it because it about sometime between 2 and 3 could be after that. But when I fell asleep, when I actually started wrestling with God to say, okay, so okay, that's what you want me to do. Say, I believe it. And then to make a long story short, I woke up the morning very late and I didn't go to work. I told the boss that I circumstances beyond my control. I eventually went and said to get speak with Dr. Bello and I asked him, what would you do with a man like me if you want to go to college? And eventually the discussion reached the point where I would accept the challenge and I accept the offer that they wanted to do this upon. I didn't really want to do it. It was really a struggle for me to do it. It was just land by the time. I had a shed built, get into my own business. I had materials on the ground to build my building. I had already built the shed for my own business, and I had materials to build my house. All right, and so I think I was all set, and to me it was like, it like just like I just make, God just turned my life upside down, and so I eventually went with a flight to go to Blue Water Bible College. And that is a long story, if I have to talk about it. But God miraculously in His own way brought it to pass, and I eventually ended up in Blue Water Bible College. It wasn't easy because even when I made up my mind to go, I still didn't went. I went to Tortola, and they were looking for me for 2 weeks, and they couldn't find me because I was still battling whether I want to go to Blue Water or anything. I already said yes, but for some reason, I just couldn't get over it. So instead of going to St. Thomas, I went to Tortola and I spent 2 weeks there. And they were looking, they asked Colin St. Kitts to see me about proper. So I say, they said, maybe he's supposed to be in St. Thomas, but I was there, I was in Tortola. And I'm going to tell you, that was the journey one never from that. So God miraculously called me to the ministry like that, and I went. And I graduated in, um, I think it was 1992. 91, 1991, I think I graduated. I went home to St. Peter in 99. Yeah. Mhm. And that's what the Lord called me. But it's a long story. If I have to really tell you the story, it will take a long time. But God did call me. I responded in a positive way. I went and I did the 4-year course. I did whatever they asked. I did it. Yeah. Teaching course. I did everything to think about whatever Blue Water offered. After spending 1 year in St. Thomas, working with Pastor Charles.
Okay, I could understand all of that because it's interesting because after I got saved, uh, I went to the conference in Trinidad,
Mhm.
and it was at Trinidad during the conference. I remember Pastor Charlton was the main speaker, and I surrendered my life there in terms for ministry. And Pastor Webster surrendered both of us together here, and years after now, see what happening. But with that said, the I have seen a steady decline in week of meetings. Even the conferences kind of turned to more teaching, educating more than so much preaching. And you know, the impacting pulpit ministry behind the pulpit, we have seen a decline, a steady decline. And back then, if you have to go through it, you will see two things I see where people get saved. One-on-one evangelism still works, and weaker services, conferences like that, they have impact. But churches today seem as though that they're not so much care about all these things now. It's, I don't know, I call it laziness in ministry. I don't know if you can comment on that.
It's something that it's very plain to be seen. The passion for ministry is not here like that, like it used to be. I mean, saying this now, sometimes they don't do it if they happen to something just a Sunday, like it go to service. Something just a half week. And so the passion for ministry, I think since COVID struck, a lot of things changed. The church has been tremendously affected by it. But at least, even though that it has been affected, there was something that came out of court because now we have the ministry for it. We can use YouTube and Facebook now, and a lot of people are into that now. And so the churches are suffering when it comes to indoor churches services. People because it's at home. I go to the church now that I'm attending there. Most of the people online. We're trying to get the church to come back indoor. And so that is what has been affecting the churches nowadays. But I am one of the persons who still believe that personal evangelism is the most important thing at the church. I believe in having special activities. I think we need to just get busy doing what the Lord happens to do, get out in the byways and the highways. I still believe it works. And the church that is not doing it is the church is going to suffer. Because that's the command that God has given us to go out into the byways and the highways. People don't like to come to church. If the believers not coming to church, how are you going to really safe to God? So what we have to do is to go get out there, get to those people, come up with new ideas how to get out in the community. Right now, I'm in St. Thomas, and we just started something there that I think is very important. We had a week of missions, and then I was speaking about it, and then I preached a message on the Sunday, and I said, since they're not coming, we have to go to them. And so every second Saturday in the month now, we go out in our community, in the Bono community, where we have barbecue, we're feeding them, feeding the people in the community. We are not preaching from a mic. We play music, but we mark around the crowd. We give tracks. We have one-on-one, we speak to them up to Sunday. Somebody from my daughter called and told me that one of the persons I spoke to came to church and Tuesday Christmas. And so it shows you that we gotta get proactive and come up with new ideas, and think out of the box and try to reach as many people as we can with the Lord Jesus Christ. So it's just get out there.
It's also a lack of, going out, like witnessing one-on-one. That has, dwindled down a little. But, it has gone down a lot. So, that too can help, to win others to the Lord Jesus Christ. Personal evangelism, even street, like having meetings for maybe half week for the whole week, that has gone down as well. A lot. So we have to come up with ways and means that we can reach the people for the Lord Jesus Christ. At all costs, we have to do that.
Yes. That's so interesting. And, we have to be innovative and use technology. As you see, I'm using technology. But at the same time, I don't think, as much as I like technology is good to reach people who you cannot immediately, in your immediate reach. And sometimes people there, might think, but I think that, the one-on-one, especially going out in the community, getting to know your community and getting that, building that relationship in that community is so important. And again, what I realize sometimes is cultural, because a place like St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, that's difficult to do,
You can't.
Yeah, yeah.
It's difficult to go. It's people that know it's a community. You're trespassing. And you see people always say to the trespass. And so if you go to somebody because you feel it in some talking because you're trespassing. But as I said, you gotta find out the way that means and get to know it. And it still works. It's not as easy as it used to be before. But you gotta go the extra mile.
You have to find creative ways to do it. Um, when you think about creativity, one of the things you admire the cults with, like the Jehovah Witness. They will get your number, they will call you. And I remember so many times they call and say, well, so and so, my name is so and so. And we would like to set, is it possible that we can set up a meeting and come and sit down and speak to you? And that's the way they gain entry. But we don't, we talk about the cults, we talk bad about them, but look at their methods. Their methods are good. How come we can't do that? Get people number and call them.
We did that after we went to St. Thomas. That's one of the methods that we use. What we did, we asked the members of the church to talk to the neighbors, set up a meeting that, and if you introduce the pastor to your neighbors. And sometimes, and we many times we go visit the church and members' neighbors, and they will make a date and they meet. So those people, sometimes she just put something with a string, and she just put it on the doorknob and say that pastor will bring my pastor to introduce him to you, and they'll set a date and we go. You gotta think out of the box as you say. And so I suggested, I said, okay, since I'm going to be a pastor, you, everybody, talk to your neighbors, set up times for me to go and meet with them, and it worked well.
Yes. As I said, I totally believe in that kind of evangelism, because you have to be, granted that times are more evil now and people are more secure of who come into their home. So we understand that. But here, like in St. Kitts, the opportunity where you could just meet people, but yet the evangelism, you could just walk down the road, you meet a bunch of young people and you could talk and you could all, but it is not used like once ago. Always, and at Lighthouse, majority of the people and myself got saved by one-on-one. And over time it build up, you get one here and then you get one here. And by the time you look, you have 8 people in a baptism, you have you just meet somebody here, you talk to them, you go back to days, and it's almost like in sales. They say in sales, if you talk to 10 people, you're gonna get one. So try to get. If you speak to 10 persons, you might get one sale. So every 10 persons you go and you get one sale. So the same thing. If you speak to at least 10 persons, you might get one person make a decision. So it's all in the numbers.
Used to be so beautiful when we go witnessing back home. Sometimes 3 persons, 4 persons get saved one day. And it still could happen, but we have to go up. And then St. Kitts is so different. Well, the Caribbean islands outside of the US, you still find that.
Yeah, but it is not used. Today people are not, I guess after now the beauty about St. Kitts and Nevis, even after COVID, we were able to get back, recover fast to normalcy in church. As a matter of fact, people get fed up of being home. They wanted to come to church. I mean, just Sunday, I preach, and at Bethany, let me tell you something. COVID was one of the biggest blessings for our church. I'm telling you, the church experienced a growth spurt during COVID. I mean, the church had baptism that they didn't had in a long time. Years and baptism in a long time. People started to come to church. You know, a lot of renovation took place. A lot of people donate trees and, you know, everything. COVID was like a blessing. And, you know, it was because of COVID I really get into, when people was home, get into this video business full time, and it advertised the church. There's one time we used to have one of the biggest online Bible study. People used to, even people from St. Martin used to tune in and things like that, and different people. And, you know, and then after, people were looking in St. Kitts, people just got fed up of staying home. They wanted to come to church. And, you know, when people got the green light, you can go back to church. The churches, they're more full. But here in the US territory now, it's like everybody glad for it. Nobody want to, they don't want to go back. It's almost like when you have like in St. Kitts, like when you had a hurricane thing, and big tragedy, everybody comes, everybody gone to church. So, but it's a different situation now. So, but in St. Kitts, the opportunity is there, but we're not using it. I think we got and I think both work, you know. You know, one pastor was, you know, talking. I said, why don't you go online? He said, well, if you go online, people ain't coming to church. I said, you work in the adverse. I said, because we were online, people start to come to church. And there is, because sometimes what I realize, there might be somebody out there, they don't go to church at all. You know, a lot of time you're looking at the unchurched, so to speak it. And they go online, they start to listen to this church and decide, I need to go to church. The first church they're going to visit is the one that they were, you know. So you got to, so it's a combination of, is a combination of both. And I come to realize the churches them that have a good online thing here in St. Kitts are the churches them that pack, you know. The churches them that pack, you know, even like the Methodist churches, because they have the thing, a lot of people going back to Methodist, Calvert over the hill over there, you know, online, and a lot of people, the one there in Bastia, Antioch, and he's, you know, and everybody want to see his online service, but when you go, the church is packed. You see, because what happened, when people looking for a church, and you know what's the amazing thing about it too? Because we were online, when people from the United States, they came on cruise ship, visit, and they call and say they want to visit. The church asked them, how you get to, he said, online. Because at the time, people visiting, they go and see what church is online, and they start to look up your information and things like and things like that. So the opportunity is there, and you know, use as much as possible about the online, and also touch the community. And I feel that is so vitally important. Yeah. Now, with that said, what you think is one of look at the state of the church today in the 21st century, you could say post-COVID. What is your assessment?
I mean, it's kind of cool, okay? It's cool, and as I said before, the passion is not there before. No, as you were just saying, there are some churches that seem to have done well, whereas on the other hand, the majority of churches are not doing well. There are a lot of churches that are closing, pastors are resigning, um, and so the passion is not there, and the churches, the influence is not as it used to be. And I think it's just a part of the signs of the time. And I think we're living where they have something in place. And the Bible did say that they're going to be a rapid fire away. Right? And I think there's some of what the Bible has predicted that is happening. But I still believe that, regardless of what is going on, it's our responsibility to get up and about and get busy, doing what the Lord has called us to do. Sometimes if we do what we have to do, people will love what we do. People just want to get busy, but sometimes they need the initiative to start to get busy doing it again.
No, with what you just said, yes, there's a lot of churches that doing good. Even some the churches that I talk doing good. Yes, they're bursting from the scenes, and you have some churches not doing good. But on the other hand, the scary part of it, even some of these churches are not doing good. There is still a theological problem. Some of the things that is preached. You have these people gravitating to these churches, and some of the things that is preached over the pulpit. You know what I mean? You give God praise for what they're doing, but at the same time, it become more religiosity instead of genuine conversion. And those who have the truth don't want to. They just satisfy in it. Just to show you that the opportunity is there. And you mentioned something very important. Both of you went to Blue Water Bible College. I went to Blue Water Bible College, and we saw the importance of training. And just like how we see what's going on, decline in evangelism, decline in thing, we realize a decline in Bible colleges and a decline in young people want to go to. And Kenneth Way sent me a startling statistic, and it was something done by Dallas Theological Seminary. And it said, for every untrained, this is not trained, the untrained going to be himself less. For every untrained pastor in America, you have 250 people out there per untrained pastor. And then, you got more untrained pastors than trained pastors. So you're going to be, you're going to be himself more. And they said, globally, for per one untrained pastor, it's 250,000 per one untrained pastor. And himself worse for those because you have less trained pastors going in the ministry. So it's not that a matter that people are not there. It shows that there's a need for trained pastors, and we see the decline. And what we see, there's a whole dynamic. We see the whole decline in training. We see the whole decline in evangelism, and it's a whole decline that is going on. And even here in the Caribbean, it happened in the States. It's much more worse here. Here in the little Caribbean,
it's all over.
It's all over. I was speaking to a young lady in St. Lucia, and the amount of churches in St. Lucia is without pastors.
Wow. So who is leading it up?
The elders in the church, but churches 2-3 years ain't got a pastor yet. Churches without pastors is becoming, you had a lot of the senior pastors were there. They retired now. But when you had the school in St. Vincent, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, Blue Water and the one in Jamaica just maybe go on. So we realized there is a problem, a shortage, and how how we going to there's a question that need to be had, especially here in the Caribbean. I mean, in the throughout, the especially the conservative. You had the West Indies Baptist Fellowship Conference. You had the Bedouin Church, also got a little Bible Institute here to train men. Nothing is there now. So when we look at what's going on, there's something that needs to be done. Otherwise, churches that once were, prominent churches, next thing when you look, everything rise and fall on leadership. And I see it over and over. You have churches, and then after great churches, pastors step off the scene, new leadership sometimes, and then everything just, all that bill just gone down the drain like that. So it's a problem, and I still believe, back to the basics. I believe getting involved in the life of young people, being a role, and that's the thing. Pastors don't want to be a role model, and one of the reasons they don't want to be a role model, like you used to open up your home and young people come and you disciple. I was at Bethany. I was telling them, like, even when at Lighthouse, when Pastor Saunders was there, people want to know how I get to know so much of the Bible. I told them, well, two things. One, we used to go evangelism. And when if you want to learn the Bible, go evangelism. Because when people start to ask a kind of question, you're going to force you to go back to study it, and then you're going back again. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that used to be my thing. And so you force it to study. But I said, not only that, Pastor Saunders used to take us, and we used to come to his house, and he used to study the Bible, and a lot of my doctrines and everything was hammered down there. We're not seeing that kind of mentorship today. Pastors just, okay, you say, I'm just the pastor, and they don't want to be transparent. They don't want to
nurture the people.
They don't want to nurture the people from just, you come to church and that's it, But then,
and it takes more than just what they hear in the church. You need to be one-on-one or with a group of you. You need to train young leaders, and they're supposed to absorb your life.
Yeah.
Look at how you're doing it, and you teach them, but not only by teaching
They got
them,
to see
they see it in action.
And that's one of the things.
What used to be fun is that once you come around the Bible, I always entertained a discussion on that. It doesn't matter what the subject was, and I think the church grew a lot from that. And it wasn't just men; it was young ladies used to come too.
Something happened to me recently. They stole my vehicle twice. First time they had some damages, but I believe because the place was muddy and. But I had all kind of equipment in my vehicle, right there, computer, and they didn't touch one thing. The second time they did the same thing. And to be honest with you, personally, I believe is one of those young people. I coach in football and everything like that. Starting school, but at the same time too, they must be said by him that it's a Mr. Dixon. They will leave his things alone. I totally, yes, it's frightening to know, but they didn't touch anything. You said I'm coming from. I mean, they didn't touch anything. So
They had a little respect for what.
that
Yeah.
even though they had a little respect,
Mm.
you know what I mean? They had a little respect for whatever. So that itself. But you see, a lot of people who don't want to get down there because they don't want to feel like things like that gonna happen. But hey, you know, God is God is good. I look at it this way. Maybe whatever little impact I had, give them a little sensibility.
Yeah.
And the second time they went with the kid. The second time they went, they leave the kid in the vehicle. I said maybe some little boys want a vehicle going to they will see why.
I think that's what they didn't know you too.
You didn't know me. They had to me. They know me. Otherwise, that would not have happened. And so
But needs to be having an impact on their life too.
so you know, I said, what are the chances that somebody steal your vehicle and all these things in your vehicle? Not one thing went. Everything was intact. And they stole a gentleman vehicle. They went with the phone. They went with the
They went to the food too.
yeah, food. Yeah. So you look at that. So I got to say, is somebody who know me, but at the same time too, they got, even though they do it, they know they do it, but I guess the conscience bother them and say, man, this is Mr. Dixon, and probably it's people who I pour my life into and talk to and things like that. But a lot of people don't want to get that. These children today, they this, they that, they that, they this, they that. But you know, this is what we call
Go back to what you're saying. You see, if our children are going to grow and we want to see young men and young adults that actually being involved in the church, I mean, as pastors, we got to get more involved with these people. We got to take them under our wings and teach them, properly disciple them, and live the life in front of them. You got to live that life. That is how you train people. I mean, they not only see you preach or hear you preaching, they get to see how you live your life. And it's always supposed to be an example to those who are watching us. Very, very important. Very, very important. If you're not doing it, then something is going to be missing.
Yes, and that is so true, you know. And one of the things I told the church suddenly, I said, you know, we're living in a unique time. I said, look, the days of the village community church is over. People from Cairn come to church in Sandy Point, people from St. Paul, people from Sandy Point going past. Everybody got vehicle now, bus running, that's one unique thing about. I said we got to just think about yes, it's here, but we got to look at St. Kitts as you feel, because remember, we started a thing in Old Road. We had people from St. Paul's. We had people from all the way coming Lighthouse. So you got to look at ministry. You know, we got to get away from this mentality and look at the entire and the island as you feel.
Well,
Yeah.
you remember that our buses are going down there.
Yes.
Down there.
Yes.
Twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And people used to come.
Yep.
And sometimes we used to make 2 trips out of Old Road alone. And that's Sunday morning, that's Sunday night.
Yeah.
We used to make a trip from St. Paul's.
Yeah.
And we used to pick up in Sandy Point.
Yeah, pick up and as
At one time we had 3 buses running.
Yeah. So and you had members in the church at bus, so they used to like
Yeah, right.
So
when the ministry started at Sandy Point.
So there is, but I realize there's this idea that the church, they preach to the choir. They come Bible study, go back home, church, Bible study, and then they're going to say people don't come to church. I tell them the unsaved man ain't supposed to come to church. You're supposed to go out there and bring them in. You got to go.
Something the Christians.
I said the Christians ain't gonna come. I said that's true. The Christians ain't coming to church. Make it worse. Imagine the unsaved man. Yeah, so we got to go out there and bring them in, and don't argue and say that they ain't coming. Have you gone out and yeah, it's like a fisherman staying on the land and say, the fish, I ain't gone out in the sea. So, but we have to
get active being part of people. And that's the I'm still driven at that all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't you understand? And you think Dr. Bentley is always
Ben, he's a go-getter and a people kind of person. Yeah, and I remember in St. Thomas, people used to talk about Bentley, they used to, but then Brother Charles developed. He and Brother Charles became best of friends and develop a good relationship with the man. And you remember the fifth Sunday thing. That's how it start because of Brother Charles and Bentley and everything like that. And we saw the value in the man and the way he
But
does
they
it.
didn't have the fifth Sunday before that?
No, they had no fifth Sunday before that. No, they never had no fifth Sunday before that. The fifth Sunday start with maybe not when I was down there, and I know in Brother Charles' time is Bentley and Brother Charles. I mean, I could give you the history of that. I was there when it started. Bentley and Brother Charles is the one who came up with the idea, and that was it. And Bentley was the two of them became very good. I mean, so as a matter, it came one time that Bentley was one of Brother Charles' biggest supporter with, but I said to myself, no, being at the Breadwin Church, that's one thing I admire with them. They always have activities together. They always have activities together. They come together, and they have everything they do. Even if they have services, all of them come together. They plan the Breadwin assembly, everything together, and they got the calendar of events for the year. And that's one of the things even in the Baptist church. I say, why you have so many Baptists? Why? And it look good. It's a good show, public show when people see that come together and they get to know each other.
The Baptist churches are mainly independent. It's like all of them are independent.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. But there time when we used to come together, some people follow the problem.
And the Breadwin Church got independent thing too, because it's local assembly. They do their own thing, and they
just. The Breadwin Church was mainly one church.
Yeah, I mean, there is this thing, but they have each church is like its own independent still, but because each church got their own elders, but they in a corporate they register as a corporate body, but they operate. You can't dictate to one church what to do and what not to do and things like. But they cooperate well, and so they like for instance, next year they're going to have a conference in Jamaica, but these conferences are done rare once in a while. When the independent, you have it every year, have a conference every year, more consistently, every year is a which I used to like because I used to go to different islands.
Yeah, I used to enjoy it too. I still enjoy it, yeah.
I told people, almost every island in the Caribbean I know pastor. I know somebody. I said if I go to a Caribbean island I can't get stranded easy because you know, I
It's a
could,
telephone call.
yeah, you can telephone call, you know, somebody and everything like that, which is good. But you know, with that said, I look at him, the independent, this Baptist. There's so much that could be done. Just, you know, unite our in this day and age, uniting resources and everything together is very, I think, is very important. And you know, these are things that we have to, and I think one of the things we push the independent model too far, and you cannot, you in this, you realize you cannot be an island. And when we look at it, the Southern Baptist is the biggest evangelical denomination, and they're going, they're going, and they're going. They're doing sign and wonder. They're going, and the training, the colleges are open. The training, they're doing, you know. But it shows that the united, we got to unite in to get things done, and we got to get out of that. Everybody want to build an empire here. Everybody want to build it. Fine. But I think that the purpose of the ministry is to help each other, you know, and the more we can help each other,
we need to cooperate a little more, work together.
Cooperate more, you know. Otherwise, if we don't do that, the church, in the long run, the church is going to be affected, and we have to do more. Now, transition a little in terms of leadership. I want to talk to you about being a pastor, right? What are some qualities, leadership qualities? You know, is what over 30 somewhat, 34. How many years now in ministry?
Ready to be almost 50.
Almost, yeah. He had to be,
I mean,
I know it's both over 40.
I went to Blowater in 86. All right. And before I went to Blowater, I was teaching.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, I went back home now, you know, in 91. I went to 91, I went back in 92. And then I started the church. I commissioned to establish a church in 92.
Yeah.
I think so. But it's just, for some reason, not much is being done nowadays, you know. I mean, I recently, just before I left to go to St. Thomas, my plan was to get around and do some more ministry in St. Kitts. God didn't allow it to work for some reason. Yeah. You know, you just got to find somebody to get my attention.
I mean, to be honest with you, my first, let me say, observation or thing in ministry is from both of you, right? And what I gather from you is that when you surrender to the Lord and you clearly know exactly what the Lord wanted you to do, you know exactly what the Lord wanted you to do,
And
where you wanted to go, and once you establish that, you went off with a passion. You had a drive. You know, this is what the Lord wants you to do. This is what you're going to do. And it's almost, you run with it, and almost everything that you say you wanted to accomplish, you accomplish it. Now, what I come to realize that those who are going into ministry now, they're going to ministry, but they don't have no vision. They don't know where they're going. They don't have a plan. They're just there and hoping something will come. Yeah, you know, and it's like the day and
I had a 5-year and a 10-year plan.
Yeah, it's like the day and
let me tell you, and it came.
And you know that's why what I admire you and also Pastor Webster is you could tell both of you all know exactly what you want to do, and you all know exactly how you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? And Pastor Charles was like that, but his health, man. I tell people, I believe if Pastor Charles was in good health, the wonders, even blue water would have been still. I mean, things that.
Yeah.
But you see, this human body here, it's something. But
It is so sad.
yeah, few.
And he's still a young person.
Yeah, and few people that I see in ministry have that. When you look at them, it's like, okay, it's like I'm in the ministry. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, preach on Sunday morning, do Bible study, good. But in like they don't have like, okay, a vision like to say where I want to go, what I want in the next 10 years, where I like to see the ministry, where we like to be. And to me, if you don't get, to me, when you have it give you a drive, it make you get up every day and get up every day. I want to accomplish it. It give you a drive. But without that, you're just marking time.
Amen.
So what advice you will give young pastors, young ministers in that this vein?
Up to yesterday, but I'll remind me what I used to say. You have a plan. You have a 5-year plan, you have a 10-year plan, what we're going to accomplish, whatever we're going to do. And I will tell you, by 2014, we want to accomplish it. And every time we did that, whatever it is, it was always accomplished, and we did not remember when to come from where it came.
Exactly.
You
You have to have a plan.
Yeah. If you don't have a plan to succeed, you have a plan to fail.
And you know, this is the same thing at where I'm at right now. You know, it's just like every year we just come, put down things on a like events. This like what we did last year, do the same thing. You know, I try to get them, okay, where do we like to see the church in the next 5, 10 years? You know, get a vision. I said 2 things that bring excitement to a church. Evangelism, when you start to see people get saved and come into the church, new faces, and when you have not only the new faces, when you have when they knew they're on fire, the excitement, new faces, and when you have a plan and you have a vision and people seeing it working and part of it, that bring excitement and that bring the church. You have to have, when you give a church, a congregation, a goal to work towards, you know what I mean, and something to strive towards, that bring excitement, that bring, you know, but if you just come doing the same, everybody expect, this is what we're going to do.
If you just try to maintain what you have, to make the new aim.
You know, and to me,
that could be very discouraging.
It is for me, you know, it's kind of discouraging for me.
I can't enjoy that.
You know what I mean? That's why I mentioned to you, I tell you, even before I do anything about leadership and everything like that, when I went to seminary and, you know, what I learned from seminary now is the theory and how it all connect together. But in practical, I sight work at home, you know what I mean? So, and not just here in St. Kitts, you know, when I left, I was rightly involved in community when I went to the States again, the church.
They started one now.
And when I went to the States now, you know, I was right there in the church. I was the interim pastor for 2 years, you know, hold it, you know, had the church going. I mean, to this day, they want me to come back up there, right? They're without a pastor, but
right now?
Yeah, they're still without a pastor, and they still like me to. They still want me. If I touch down in Chattanooga right now, that's it. Even Kenneth does say, man, Dixon, come up, man, the people up here need you, you know. And but what I'm saying, right, is that.
So you mean the church is without a pastor right now?
Yeah, I'm telling you. You see, in the States, COVID, a lot of church. When he tell me a lot of churches in Chattanooga, COVID. You went up there, you see how, and even Brother Charles, some churches closing down. It's something.
Like a monthly or weekly basis.
Yeah, people get accustomed to this, staying home and watch television, and it's a whole different. It's a whole different thing. So, you know, it's, you know, when you look around and you see majority of the churches, I see like the marking time. the marking time.
And I can't do that,
And that would tell Pastor Saunders, when I went to the States, even when I was at the church, it came a point that when it come to directionism, they were looking to you know what I mean? Because you could sense you could, I just I can't, like you see something. And this is, that's why I tell you the difference between a leader and a manager. A manager is just somebody you give him to manage what's there. A leader always see things and see the end of it. How it, it's like when you see something and hey, this is how it's going to.
And because I said that is not going to work.
That is not going to work. Just today, my neighbor Shadrach cut down a tree there. And they were cutting the tree. No, well, they cut, and I said, Shadrach, me out there here, you cut so long, right? I said, me old machete sharper than you, right? And then his son came and started to help him. Shadrach, with it, I said, Shadrach, if you want the tree fall this way, wherever you cut is where the tree is going to fall where the cut is, right? Here want the tree fall, but if you cut to the back, the tree going back, and you think they still cut on the thing, and I pull this tree, and he said the tree pull him up. I said, when you look brown, I said, I told you already, the tree is going to fall where the cut is, because once you cut in there, that's where it's gonna lean and it's gonna fall. So I just use that to illustrate when you could see something gonna happen. And you done vision, you see that's the difference between a leader. A leader could see that a manager, somebody who will have that, they will just go and maintain what is being there, and this is how we used to do it. So they're gonna maintain it and maintain what's there, and it's two different dynamics that we have there. So, that's, what I realize in ministry. Yes, we have people who have, but they don't know where they want to go. They come, do the same thing over, every year do the same thing over. And then they expect a change. Now, I always tell people, the mark of insanity is to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. That's the mark, as I said, the mark of insanity. And sometimes it is discouraging to me, but at the same time, you just have to plod on, the way you got to do in the best, and things like that. That's why I said, if my next stage of ministry got to be in that,
A leader is a leader. It doesn't matter where he is. When I was at UD, I was the main person. I was the pastor. I was the main person. In other words, that joy was there. All right? Same thing is on the part. And if you are right now, I mean, it's just something in me. I just can't. I just want to get out there. I want to see things done. I just want to see things done. Like when we had the last week of meeting, we were praying. We asked God, we need some men. So we got trained. And the first time, just in September, I baptized 5 men. One girl, one lady, 5 men.
Okay.
And so, but what will we go after them?
Yeah, but it's that's where I see ministry going on, and it's. I tell people it's nothing. It's just simple things, But to them it's hard. They don't want the fear rejection that people do. I said, look.
But that's a part of it. They have to go to get the rejection.
I said, if you want excitement in ministry, go do one-on-one. It shocked me, and to me exciting.
It really build your faith.
It build your faith.
When you have the privilege of leading a young man or a young woman, and even a senior person, just to lead somebody to the Lord Jesus Christ is a blessing, it's a joy. And when I'm not doing it, I feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah, and it's exciting. Number one, you develop relationship, and it's something when you feel like you speak to somebody and they get saved, or you speak to somebody and they have questions and they would like to come, even sometimes some of the people them that some might give you a hard time, but then you start to talk to them and you talk to them again, and all of a sudden you all they start to develop a relationship and things like that. You remember Sister George how she got saved at first, I mean, things like that, and you see how people think that, well, not me Anglican and me ain't gonna leave me church and everything like that. You see where I'm coming from. Things you see things you see things like that, and
I'm making or telling somebody about money. And that's how you got the money, and money came in. He was one of the main part of fostering the land.
yeah, and that
God
yeah.
will put people in your life just at the correct time to get things done.
And so but you have to go out there. You have to invest yourself with people. You have to love people, and
Keep it ministry. Without people there in the ministry.
Ministry, and you have to expand your reach. I look at this as expanding, and that's the reason why I stick to this, because you could here I could express myself, do what I have to do. Because when at church, yes, you're going to be faithful, you're going to serve. But when you're in the ministry and you're under somebody, you can't, because you don't want, you can't go too far in front of the leaders. So you got kind of you got kind of cap there. But when you could do that, you could express. You see what I'm coming from. So that's for me at this stage. I don't see myself. Otherwise, you're gonna kill me. You can. And
But I still believe you could be from behind.
yeah, no,
Anywhere I go, right?
But you got it. You could do it from behind. You got, but in the thing, if you got the right kind of person who is not what you call it, they're not insecure. They got some people got I was part of that in an insecure situation. I don't get back in that. That was an insecurity is a very, very, very big thing. Yeah.
The person don't trust you, always believe you're after something.
Yeah, so you don't, I wouldn't put myself, in that position again.
For all of my ministry, all of my years in ministry, I have never tried checking to anybody. Never.
Yeah.
Because my idea was not to be the pastor forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never feel threatened by anybody.
That's when people confident in themselves, and
I prefer. I like to hear my
and exactly, and it's a blessing when you have people come behind you. But not only that too, as a leader, you know your limitation. I know my limitations, and if somebody could do something better than me, let the person, because they only got enhance. You know what I mean? But not everybody have that thing, and especially some people. I listen to some people. Man, I need help. Man, I need help. And then sometimes you look around in the church. They got all kind of talent in the church. I said, man, sometimes some people have talent and they don't know how to use them. I said, man, you got talent, use them.
But there's some people in the churches do not know. I mean, they're not. Some of them, you got to be there. They're not taught.
Yeah.
Because I sense some talent in the church in Bordeaux.
Yeah.
I heard a young girl singing, beautiful voice, man.
Yeah.
And I said, man, that voice you could bless the church on a Sunday morning. Is that from church? Start from church. It's a little.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All you want to talk to.
Yeah. Yes.
And guess what? They say, who is better to identify your talent? Pastor.
Yeah.
I'm in a role where I want to do the best out of every member. Whatever your gift and your talent is, it should be used for the edification of the church. I said, just as the pastor is the pastor. You can sing, you can bless my hand. All right, whatever you do, But when you can do it for the glory of God and just say that you come back to church again.
And that's true. The reason the what you just say is a point, because sometimes the church have talent in there, and the talent want to do something, and then the church, oh, we ain't ready for that yet. We're ready for that yet. Oh, we ain't ready for that yet. What gonna happen to the talent? When somebody recognize,
They're gonna become dormant.
yeah, not only that, but when somebody recognize that talent, the guy with the talent, and then when you're gonna realize what you had there, when you see the next when you see the person, the flourishing, and they're doing whatever next, you know, yeah. Yeah, so because they're there and they're ready to go, and you ain't say, boy, let me tap into this, let me, but I I told people, say, how we get to learn to play guitar and instruments and things like that. I said, look, again, Pastor Saunders, he had a whole box guitar. He brought from say, I learned to, well, Pudi learned to play on it. I learned to play on it. And then we became the instrumentalists for the church. He didn't have to worry about musician. Because you used to play your little keyboard, and after a while, when we start to play good, you ease off your keyboard and you just and thing like that. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. But now with that, I see a danger, and this is what churches are doing. They're putting the cart before the horse. They bring in the unsafe people and to play instruments and to do things. I said, I said, first of all, in order for you to do anything at Lighthouse, you got to be saved, born again. And remember, and Pastor Saunders make that an issue, because if you don't get people, if people are not saved, and you put them to do things, your chances are you'll never get them saved, because they're gonna feel like they're all right. You see where I'm coming from, and that's how it's supposed to be. And you want to do something, you got to be born again. I said,
"Oh, you're gonna could minister if you're not saved."
Yeah.
What kind of ministry?
Yeah, how you can minister and you're not saved, and that's the thing about it. And a lot of
David and all those to you too, right?
Yeah,
these were men of God.
Yeah.
Some of them even their songs are prophetic.
Yeah.
That God minister to those guys with their talent.
I'm bringing unsaved and put unsaved. No, no.
All of them doing it. All of them doing it.
I see churches got people coming to church every Sunday. They're not saved. They come, and they have the before, so it's better to not have none than to have. It's not.
It's a bad thing, because what we have, they're just going from church to church, just playing.
Yeah, and
they're not hearing the gospel.
And this is what you see in a lot of churches. In St. Kitts is religiosity, and that's what you have in churches now. Yes, you want to see people get saved and church go, but you got to do it the right way. Because when we did it, we did it
make them feel like everything is okay. Then your pulpit playing and they're not saved.
Yeah. So and this is the state. The church, because this is how Lighthouse go. This is there was some embedded principle, and I said, even for us young men, preaching and so on. Before we got there to preach, Pastor Saunders, he took us. We got to know what we're talking about before we got behind the pulpit. He used to have us train and sit down with the Bible and learn the Bible and everything like that. Not just put you up there and everything like that. At least you got to get your doctrine hammered down and things like that. But so but today is like people in a hurry just to.
Some of them don't even take the time to read the Bible.
Yeah.
And they want to preach.
Yeah. So
some of them take a scripture and they don't even know what they're saying about it. And they read it and they tell you nothing about it, just up and on the place.
Yeah. And this is a big problem what we have in churches today. Especially in St. Sandy Point, you have a lot of people just go in church. They'll tell you they're not Christian. They're not saved. They're up in the praise team singing. They're behind the pot. They're doing this, they're doing that, and they're doing that. So it's about a crowd game. It's not about getting people saved. they feel good that these people come in. To me, how I look at it, the feel good is like for people come in church.
Yeah.
And that's
They don't care about the spiritual connection.
and that is what
They just want the physical.
that is what I said. You know what we have? We have a bunch of horses in garage, car garage. Yeah, they're not cars. You got horses in car garage. You know what I mean? And this is what we have, and this is the condition. And mark you, this is turning off a lot of the unsaved. I speak to the unsaved.
Because if you're going to have a band inside, they play an instrument that doing something that's...
You can't do that. They want you to be a member of the church.
What is the purpose of membership? I said, if that's what you're doing, then membership needs absolutely nothing.
So you see the going to St. Thomas and you recognize problems, a serious. There's a
serious issues down there.
And here, but there's a serious spiritual problem that going on in our churches because church is a serious problem. So serious that it's here too. Trust me, it's here. It's a serious problem. That's why the church is not.
I mean, there's some people have crowds, right? And they have crowd because they could do anything they want to do.
Yeah, they could do anything they want to do.
Come to church and like, no, so yeah, they do.
Yeah, but I mean, things like this is needed, because it's a problem, and it has to be addressed. And because it's not just say you're speaking to a particular congregation. It's something that is going on. It's a trend that is going on, and it's worrisome to me. And the next thing again that it's worrisome, we have that, and then we have all kind of, teaching that come in so-called, conservative churches, Baptist churches, the kind of things that the preaching, the theology, no church discipline. Everybody do what they want, and then not only no church discipline, everybody do what they want, and you have the kind of teaching behind the pulpit when you expect better, and the kind of teaching that is going on behind the pulpit. It's. I said, look. When you look at St. Lighthouse, we had solid teaching and the church go. We had, you had to be born again, you got to be a Christian. And that, because you should know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Now, what I realize here, especially in Sandy Point, slowly and slowly at our church, we see people coming. Because we have a good pulpit ministry, the men them there. And, God has blessed me that the freedom, I got to say, they give me the freedom to teach and train and do the Bible study. But when people come, they could sense the difference in certain, where they go in certain churches. Because you have all kind of shenanigans going on, especially... the Pentecostal movement is really, really making a dent but they got all kind of shenanigans going on, and people want to know the truth. I'm guarantee people want to know the truth. It's just that they ain't getting it, but when they reach to a place and they hear it, it's a different thing.
I prefer to teach people who will question you than just believe everything that I say.
Exactly, and that's
when I hear from you, I must know whether I get it to you or not.
And that's why that's why I like evangelists. I like people question me because it sharp me.
It sharpen you.
That's
and you were right when you said when you go witnessing, And you ask me a question, right? I'm not going to be ashamed to tell you me, no?
And tell you
I said, I've never really looked at that. But too late, I'm
coming back to make you force you to go home and study. Yeah.
It drove me to study.
It drove me to study, and that gave me a passion for the word. And evangelism.
You want to know what you're saying is the truth.
So evangelism, I tell you, is a double-edged sword. One, people getting saved. Two, is sharpening you.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win in two ways.
Forced me to study certain subjects because I never sometimes heard about it, but I never really concentrated in.
And it's Pastor Saunders and Sister Saunders, it's really to Sister Saunders is the next thing. We have a drought of women. Pastor's wife wants to be dedicated to ministry. What can you say to Blue Water Bible College and even things like youth conference? Remember the youth conference and even going to the West Indies back how we used to be. When you used to go and there used to be such a pound behind the pulpit. Surrender to ministry. We had a training institution. We could, if someone surrender and they want to go train, they had a place where young men and young women to go, and young men could find their wife, their people who were interested in serving the Lord, and it's the same thing. So you realize, there is, so what, So what you see, young ladies today, about,
they have young ladies, but it's to find them. They're not, I met you.
But sometimes they can be right there in the church.
They can be right in the church.
They can be right there, but sometimes they're overlooked.
They're overlooked,
They go out and look for
what can be done to ignite them and to a ministry that because let me tell you something. Pastors have right now few, and getting a partner who going to be dedicated to ministry. I'm telling you, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult.
Dedicated,
it's
so long.
It's hard. When everything happening, we're in churches. We're there together.
That's the model.
Putting pressure on some of the pastors.
Well, yeah, and that's the model that that's the model.
So I mean, we go, and I intel with because when they have special meetings, we don't show up in the pastor that I'm not doing that. I say, you are grace. I am the leader of grace. But if you are not going, I am not going.
Yeah.
And so one, I am going, all of us going. The pastors go follow the guy and they want to know how to get at it because I let them know.
You got to let them know the importance.
For example,
yeah.
Why would they want to go and represent the church and all of your work seeking?
Right.
Yeah.
And want to make it in the church and that's what I'm saying. I told them, I say, if you all don't come, when they ask to get, I would not stand. I'm not going to represent you.
No, let me say this. The few years I got married, I remember when I got married at first, my wife didn't really, to being a pastor's wife. So it's then after a while she embraced it.
Maybe because she did, because before she got to, she wanted.
Yeah, and then the same thing everywhere I go. People will come anywhere I go. They see both of us together.
That's wonderful.
We go together. We and if we go to the States, we travel together to the point that we go to church. Everybody say we just together. She go see where we're going. She go, and that when you see, you start to embrace what, and when I start this year, you remember she's the one who used to introduce the program. Yeah, they were telling you. So it was something that both of us, you know,
Let me tell you, the lady was just shaping up to be the best.
yeah. But yeah, I'm telling you, it was so one the reason why you see me get into that because of this. Even at church, we together. Even if we go holiday every day, we together. We together because that's what I see. You know, I love seeing that. You know, as a talk about being an example in a pastor's home, and I don't know. I mean, it was just her. She wants to be around her husband. You know, and then him.
The thing about Aldo, right? If I said we are going, then you go say it twice.
Yeah, and
You know, maybe should be just
him too. In the short time, she developed a relationship with most of the pastor's wife. She and Wayne's wife get along well. She used to talk to Al's wife too, But she and Shanetta, every time that you remember the women's conference, she always used to go every year. She go to the women's conference. She went when she went. She and Shanetta, she developed. She enjoyed it every year. She got in when we came to the Beverage Church. She never miss it. Yeah. She'll go and things like that, and so she had that, in I believe if she was here still, even if I say I remember one time get an invitation to preach overseas, but I couldn't go because of the job and the kind of job, the time and so. She said, well, if you're going, me going, me going to take off work and me going. You know what I mean? She said, you ain't going to leave. So, that's
That was good. That was
that's why I can see when I see your pastoring and your wife not there. And one thing I really miss her, she was deserved. Women pick up things in ministry that we men don't pick up. And they pick up people. And because my wife was never the talkative kind in church, she was more the sit down and observe. And when if she got something to say when she reach home, she talked to me about it. It's where you're coming from. She was not the, but she was observant. She see things, what you don't see, anything like that. So it's so. But again, as I said, it's the church. It's really tough right now. I mean, even for young men, those who feel called, if to get someone who is. So there's definitely a ministry, to train. Because what the Bible, as Sister Saunders say in the church, because what Paul saying Titus, I mean the older women train young, yeah. So there's a ministry in the church that I think, because a lot of times they just leave it up to the pastor to train everybody. But we need some ladies in church to train and teach young women.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's something because they just leave the pastor to teach everybody, you know what I mean? But there's something about a pastor's wife that you as a pastor will not be able, like
that's true, that's something that she could talk about tonight.
Yeah. So, well, Pastor Saunders, it was really a blessing to have you, and I wish we could do more. Well, we could do more like this because I have the technology where you could stay in St. Thomas and we could come in and just pray for me. This year I have some plans come up, and one of the things that I'm trying to do is to do some kind of do some training ministry, start some kind of you know, and
I'm doing it right now, isn't
yeah,
it?
but it's needed, and we need more role. We have pastors, but we don't have role models. They preach and they go home, but they're not role models to sit down to train and disciples. And I thank God for both of you, the impact, the investment, the time. It wasn't always easy because I'm not always an easy person to deal with. But
when I like to discuss.
Yeah.
I mean that's
Yeah.
good.
But
And that's what I enjoy too. I enjoy it too.
but
I don't got a problem when somebody you discussing a scripture. That's it. That's what it's all about. I do that all day if I get a chance.
But I'm here today because of that, and I thank God for the foundation. It wasn't for that foundation, and people say I'm here, I'm single. People say you're single, you ain't getting married yet, and I say, look, if I'm gonna do, I gotta trust the Lord, do it the right way, and serve the Lord and so on. But just pray for me that God will just work things out, and just pray for the ministries. I have a passion to see ministry and see church.
I'm praying that you will take seriously what I talking about the last.
See, but we need a training ministry throughout the region. We need a training ministry. Otherwise, our church is going to be problems. Well, Pastor Saunders, Sister Saunders, it was a privilege having you all and doing this interview. And I thank you all again, and thank you all for your impact in my life and what you all doing in St. Thomas. You all like the bishops down there now. And
we're doing what we know, what we can do best. We know whatever we do, we get it our best.
And all things come on full circles. I said when I was in St. Thomas, the years I spent there at community, and look at you now to go to help. So God is good. So God is good, and and when I left, I went on the good hands with Brother Charles too. So it's good that we have the connection going on. So that's good, and he has confidence in you, and I was really happy when I heard that. So man, we could talk all night, and then you have to go tomorrow, and you had a long day.
I could talk until 12 o'clock, but
you're tired, you work hard, so I will. Again, it was nice having you, and we will do some more over the seas with technology. There's no distance. Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview that we had with Pastor and Sister Saunders. A real lengthy, involved interview, and we covered a plethora of topics that affects the church. And as was said, we could have gone all night, but as you noticed, Pastor Saunders was tired. He was home working all day, plus he had to travel in the morning the next day. But we will continue this topic sometime. We will have them again. And, continue to pray for them, pray for me also, and also pray for this ministry. And of course, if this ministry is a blessing to you, please remember to like, support, and subscribe. And if you would like to donate, the information will be given in the description below. So with that said, have a wonderful day, and we will meet again in this forum. Bye-bye, bye-bye. May the Lord blessings be with you.
Copyrights reserved.